Let's answer a viewer question. First of all, it's 4th of July, so please pardon some of the fireworks sounds. It's going off in our neighborhood. Secondly, I hit 900 subscribers today. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, and the question that I want to answer today is this is in response to being insecure about looks and, like feeling like you look bad. And I realize this as a statement, but my mind but doesn't devour the idea of it. Why isn't my mind not on my control? Why can't my body accept that failure is okay and rejection is okay, right? So this is the classic case of the difference between knowledge and implementation, right? Okay, so I played tennis when I was a kid. So one of the parts that I had the hardest time with was service. I didn't have like the proper posture and the muscle power to do the service the right way. And while I lost interest in tennis over time, I occasionally look back at the because I'm interested in the biophysical like movement and qualities of movement in general. I read up on tennis, right? And so now I see when I look at the article about the kinesthetics of like a service and what needs to happen into your body, so like all the muscle chains that are active in, and when you're holding the racket and like blah blah blah. So I understand like, oh, okay, so theoretically that's what makes a service work. Okay, does that mean I can serve? No. Right. um, some of you may know I started surfing recently. I look at a lot of surfing videos, and theoretically I know how to drop in, I know how to prop up. Theoretically doesn't mean I can do it, right? So practice is a part of making it for mine, making it trickle down from the head to my body, right? Okay, so you understand, mind control is important, but mind control seems really hard because why? Let's talk a little bit. I want to tell you how the mechanics of mind control sort of works, okay? When you're sleeping, right? And in your dream you're being chased by a wild animal. It's really scary, right? But I'm next to you, you're sleeping, and you're like, oh, you're moaning in your sleep. So I try to wake you up, right? Okay, so it's like, hey, wake up. Charizi. Okay, I'm probably butchering your name, but like, wake up, wake up. But in the dream, right? As long as you're in that dream, you feel the tug of the body moving because you're semi-awake. But that you're still being chased by like feral wolves, and it's so scary. And then after you wake up, you find out that, oh wait, there are no wolves anymore, right? But now when you just wake up from a dream, there's still that little bit of lingering feeling from the dream, right? When you wake up from a really sad dream, you wake up and then you still feel a little bit sad. There's like that residual feeling, right? But what happens over time to that residual feeling? You're feeling super profoundly sad, super scary because you just woke up from a nightmare. And then you look around and they're like, oh, wait. Oh, it was a dream, right? So, when you're consumed by an emotion, right? It's very similar to being in a dream. It's you're in a very deep state. You've kind of fused in with the emotion. Okay? So, I heard about this Buddhist story. Like a person was, a parent died, right? Like, well, and was in mourning and grief in the funeral home, and like, oh my god, I'm like, oh my, how will I will live without my father, and everything is so sad. And then one of the guests came to pay their respect, and as they were paying their respect, they leaned down and then ripped out a fart, right? And then the person was in this profound grief, but then in that brief moment of like, that shit's funny, right? So like, and then you kind of break out of that trance, right? You break out of that being fused. You're so tightly bound with that feeling of sadness. And then this happens and you break out of it, right? And then you have to catch up with reality, and you're like, oh wait, you have to remember that your father is dead, and then oh, I have to feel sad again, right? This tells you that when you are in feeling bad, failure, rejection, all these things are really sticky inside of your mind. And when you're in that sticky state, nothing's really gonna be accepted. When you're deep in grief, when you just break up, when your parents just die, if someone comes to console you and they're like, hey man, it's okay, like there's plenty of other fish in the sea, or like, oh come on, like your parents, like everybody dies and it's their time and they lived a good life and they passed away pretty peacefully, so you have really nothing to be sad about. But like, that doesn't matter when you're deep in the feeling bad, right? Because why? It's like being deep inside of a nightmare. I can try to wake you up, but when you're still asleep, nothing works. So the first thing you have to understand is that when nothing's landing, it's because you're in that zone. And for anything to kind of start making sense in real life, you gotta be at least at the neutral point of not being consumed by your emotions. Luckily, I have a guide for you in order for you to do some somatic exercises to snap out of that like deep trance, deep unconscious fusing with your negative emotions. So it's in my YouTube channel. I'm gonna put a link to it in the comments. When you're feeling exceptionally bad and no advice is seeming to help, check out that video. Do the 3 somatic exercises and then watch the stuff on my YouTube channel, and then you will find that they land a lot differently when you're not being actively consumed by the thoughts. So hope that helps, and let me know if you have any other questions.